Oh, this is a really good question. Why do we see in general that item stats are getting nerfed throughout the entirety of TFT? For example, Dragonclaw in set 1 used to block 70% of magic damage and had a 200 MR in set 2, 180 MR in set 3, and now poor Dragonclaw only provides 65 magic resist with HP regen. But still, almost all items provide less and less stats. This is 100% true, by the way. This person is spot on. Is this intended so that units can be designed to be more powerful without being too strong with certain items, or is it simply for ease of balancing? So the first. The problem was, let's say you had a 3-star, I'm gonna use live champions here. Let's say you had a 3-star Thresh, okay? You've got a 3-star Thresh, and you're up against an opponent's 1-star Garen, but they have set 1 Dragonclaw and Bramble Vest. Okay? Who wins? I'll give you a hint. It's not Thresh, and it's not even close. It's not even close. And that's kind of effed up, right? Like 3-star 3 cost versus 1-star 1 cost, but they have 2 items? That's kind of ludicrous. That was the big problem we were seeing, is that powering up your champions is supposed to be like really impactful and really cool, right? Like a 3-star champion should be really good, but so much of the power budget of the game was in items that all that really mattered in set 1 and set 2 was your items. Who cared what the champions were used? It's like you basically, the way real early TFT worked was build the best items, know who the best users of those items are, put them on them, you win. Doesn't matter the star level. You just that's you win. Get a Zed with GA redemption, you win. Good job. That's it. And so we want the army, going back to that thing I told you about where the goal of the game is to build a powerful army. We wanted champions and their star levels to matter. We wanted them to be important, right? Like how powerful your champion is should come a lot from the champion, not just the items. And so over time, we've had to keep lowering the items' values so that the champions matter more. The other thing is that you often hear a lot of people talk about best in slot, right? And imagine you're new to TFT, and the first thing you do is you high roll and you get an Ashe on 2-3, and you're like, sweet, I have an Ashe. And then you build a Deathblade on that Ashe, and everyone laughs at you and says, hey, idiot, you're not supposed to build a Deathblade on Ashe. You're dumb, you're bad, game's over, you lose because you didn't build the right thing. That's a really crappy experience. And so what we've wanted to do over time is make sure that the difference between best in slot and non-best in slot gets shrunk as well. So that if you don't have best in slot, it's not as big a deal. Now, that's not to say we've perfectly executed that, because there are definitely certain items that, like, Ashe kind of needs a Rage Blade, and without a Rage Blade, she suffers. Or blue buff, like we talked about before. So some items are still a little too, pivotal to a champion's success. But, like, going back to the Ashe example, a Deathblade versus an IE versus a Giant Slayer, is there really that big a difference? Not really. We've actually gotten that pretty good. There's a lot more leeway there on which of that items. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're playing at the highest level, someone will tell you, don't ever build IE, that's totally bad, it's always Deathblade, blah, blah. But, like, realistically, it's not that big a deal. And so that's been the other thing. So, TLDR, a combination of making sure that champs and their power level matter more than just the items, and making sure that the difference between best in slot and non-best in slot isn't so drastic. That's been our main goal. And hilariously enough, you mentioned we keep nerfing items. We still think items might be too strong. We still are like, are items still giving too much power? Maybe. Is it really cool that your 2-star Hui with no items loses to a Kindred with just a blue buff? That's not great. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that's why we've been going that direction. And I think that direction has been correct for TFT.